So it's looking like that Canelo Alvarez is looking to go after Artur Beterbiev. I made a who wins video on this a while ago. I don't even remember who I picked to win that fight. But what's the strategy here with Canelo? I guess it's always his team always has a plan A, plan B, plan C. In case things don't fall in the way they want. Okay, on one hand, you got Demetrius Andrade at 160. You got Jamal Charlo at 160. You got David Benavidez at 168. I was also hearing he was bringing up David Benavidez, but let's get into what I think is going on here. Like I said, this is only an opinion. Okay, so Canelo just came off of a fight with Billy Joe Sanders, took his strap, and there's one strap left at 168, and that's Caleb Plant's strap. He's the only one left with a belt. So he would, if Canelo Alvarez was to beat Caleb Plant, he would be undisputed at 168. It's come to my attention that Caleb Plant is playing hardball with this. Reports have said that he's asking for $10 million to fight him. A lot of people don't think he deserves $10 million to fight Canelo, man. I think that's a rather fair amount, man, to ask for. I even heard someone say they were trying to offer him 15, but they think he's, in a sense, ducking Canelo. 10 million is a good amount, man. They was gonna give him the 10. Then I'm reading that Canelo team they didn't want to give the 10 million. So I don't know what's true or what's not. But it's looking like the Caleb Plant versus Canelo Alvarez fight is, at least as far as we can see it, is not going to happen. So that leaves Canelo wide open. And then here enters Demetrius Andrade, the Jamal Charlo down at 160. Canelo is now campaigning at 168. Not sure if Canelo can make 160 again. He probably could. I don't think he should have a problem making 160 to go down there, and he's a champ at 160 as well. So he should be down there trying to get those belts from Jamal Charlo and Demetrius Andrade. That would seem like the logical choice, but doesn't really look like that's what's going to happen for whatever reason. Then they said, I saw another video, I read reports said that he was talking about Jamal Charlo. So I don't know, man. These Canelo's all over the place. But what I think is happening is, I don't think he wants to fight Andrade and Canelo. Not sure, I mean, he just called Demetrius Andrade a terrible boxer, man. But he's a terrible boxer with a belt. Down at the division that you do have a belt at. Right? So does Charlo. I stand corrected. Canelo, he doesn't have a belt at 160. He has the franchise. So technically that's not a real belt. That's the belt that allows you to move around and fight whoever you want to fight, pretty much. It's like when you get the star on Super Mario Brothers, you can just run through whoever you want or whatever the case is. But he has no belts at 175 at all. He has no belts at 160, no real belts. He has belts at 168. He took belts off of Callum Smith, I believe, and he took belts off of Billy Joe. So the next belt for him to collect would be the IBF from Caleb Plant. That would be the next belt for him to collect, because he has the WBO, he has the WBC, and he has the WBA. So The only other champions at 168 is David Morrell, and that's like WBA World, which is what people call the fake WBA belt, the not so important one. So Caleb Plant is the only one left for him to really snatch up a real strap from. That's happening. So you figure, where would Canelo go from there if Caleb Plant fight is not going to happen? Would he go down or would he go up? He can go down and fight some good fighters, which is Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo, to go and get some belts down at 160. But instead, he said, no, I'm going to shoot back up and go up to 175 and take on Artur Beterbiev. That's what it's looking like. That's what a lot of reports are saying. So why is it that he's trying to go, instead of fighting Benavidez at 168, no belt, or going down to 160 to fight Andrade and Charlo, who have belts, or to go up to 175 again and fight Beterbiev, who has a belt? Well, you can look at this a number of ways, man. It's pretty apparent he doesn't want to fight Andrade or Charlo. From leading up to now, that's what's been the case. He hasn't entertained those dudes, man. And you got to ask yourself why. Especially after most people think he beats both of them. Why not go get the straps? Why not take the straps from him instead of going up to Beterbiev? Could it be a reason why he wants Beterbiev versus those two? Does he think Beterbiev is a less dangerous fight? Because it looks like, or could it be another strategy? Let's take a real quick glance what I probably think one of these two scenarios are. Maybe it's he thinks Beterbiev is the weakest link because he had COVID, and maybe he feels like he can he's older, you know what I mean? Or I don't know. Maybe it's something like that. Because Beterbiev is 35, 36 years old. Much older than Canelo. So Beterbiev is out of his prime. He's right out of his prime. In the stages of, I guess, declining as a boxer, for the most part, man. But he's still strong, still has power, still a great boxer as well. But Andrade and Charlo is much younger than Beterbiev. So he might feel like maybe Beterbiev is less of a threat. Kind of like he thinks like Kovalev was like less of a threat. So he jumped on Kovalev. But Beterbiev has belts, so he like, well, he's older. He's probably declining, and he had COVID, and he has a belt, so that'll be easier for me to go get that belt than it is for me to go get the belts from Andrade or Charlo. Or could it be scenario B, where he doesn't think Beterbiev is a pushover, and he decides, okay, let me do this. I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to fight Beterbiev, and I'm going to beat him, and I'm going to try to put a little bit of scare into Charlo and Andrade to make them not want to fight me after what they see that I'm going to do to Beterbiev. I don't know, maybe. Like, well, I just beat a big, strong 175er that people was afraid to fight, that has his power, and he's a good boxer. So do you guys still want to fight me for those 160 belts? I really don't want to fight him anymore. Or he probably is banking on some shit like that happening. It got to be one of those two, man. Got to be one of those two. I would say it's the first scenario. He probably thinks Beterbiev is the weakest link because he's much older. Probably think he's slowing down, and because he had COVID that he's an easy pickings. I think that's what's going on. So he probably had him in the second in plan B if the things didn't pan out with Caleb Plant. Beterbiev probably was the next one that they were trying to go after. He probably was already scheduled. They probably had him ready to go, or was considering him way before. Like they probably had him as a consideration when Canelo was fighting Billy Joe Sanders. You know what I mean? So, you gotta look at things like that. I don't know. I'm thinking that's why, because why would you? You got dudes that have been calling you out for years, and you don't want to fight them, and that's 2 belts at 160. You could become undisputed down there. You're not gonna become undisputed if Caleb Plant ain't gonna give you a shot. Let's Plant drop his belts later on or lose to a lesser opponent. Then the easier route would be for him to take on to go down to 160 and take those belts from Charlo and Andrade and try to become undisputed down there. And there's a couple other champions in that division as well. And then because he's going to start all over at 175, you got to start from scratch. Beterbiev is the first piece of the puzzle up there, So I don't know, man. This one is it's not that complicated, man. But when you think about it, I'm thinking it's that scenario, man. He's looking at Beterbiev as an easy opponent for those reasons that I stated, man. Could be wrong. Who knows? What you guys think about this, man? Let me know. Drop a comment, like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later on the next one, man. Peace out.